You strong.
But they find this fantastic instead of scary. Wait, do you mean to say that Peace became an S-class all on his own? Yoojin sees this and asks what happened, while another asks if Peace has always been this big. Peace continues to flare, and Yoojin observes how Peace has grown with its fiery fur and extended horn. Peace growls as he stares at Yoojin, and Yoojin returns the look. Yoojin suddenly shoots his black flame, making a clear line between him and Peace on one side. This surprises the other members, who are confused by their guild master's actions. Yoojin then commands everyone to get out, and only he and Peace will be entering the dungeon this time. Did these two reach an understanding with just a look? I guess they do make the perfect partner for each other. Yoojin makes an incomprehensible face in this story. With his fervent brows and frowning mouth, Yerim asks if Yoojin has finally calmed down. Only Sunghan, Yerim, and Chirpy are left with Yoojin in his hospital room. Myungwoo is sorry that he has to go because he has work and cannot help with the current situation. Yoojin is still irritated, but he knows he can do nothing now since the gate is already closed. 10 minutes earlier, Yoojin was creating chaos at this news. Everyone is trying to stop him, but he doesn't care since his fear resistance was activated then. He reflects on his previous actions, but Yoojin cannot remain calm. He curses that his stubborn brother went into an S-grade dungeon with only him and Peace. Lil Bro will surely get much scolding from Big Bro once he returns. Yerim calms him down by telling him to lightly breathe in twice and release a long exhale. Sunghan reminds Yerim that she is teaching a breathing technique for women in labor. Yoojin can't rest easy as he thinks an S-class dungeon will take at least 10 days to clear, and the two won't be able to rest since there are only 2 of them in it. Yerim ignores Sunghan and reminds Yoojin to breathe. Yoojin somewhat heeds the breathing technique, though he is still frustrated. Sunghan says they would be okay since they have gate stones. Yerim agrees, and as a master of changing topics, she asks Yoojin what rewards he got from their last dungeon raid. This distracts Yoojin somewhat, and Yerim pushes Yoojin in that direction of a subject by showing off her rewards from Babar. Yerim probably just wants to flex her new gear. Yerim received the Mermaid Queen of Sea Waves earrings, a pair of elegant blue gem earrings. This SS-grade equipment increases her mana and mentality stats and lets her move underwater. Aside from this, it adds 30% to the skill effect of her water and ice-related skills. Yoojin is amazed by these effects, saying that Yerim will be unbeatable when she's in water. Yerim is so proud that she says she will be raiding all the underwater dungeons using this. She looks far into the future, thinking how this will make her a lot of money to repay her debts. She shares how she managed to repay at least half of it after clearing the dungeon where Babar was. But then Yerim suddenly slumps, thinking how she will again go into debt once she buys new equipment, and she still needs to purchase ice-resistant items for her raid team. Yoojin smiles at this, commenting how she still has a long way to go in achieving those goals. She starts complaining that she can't borrow equipment from the guild since her attributes are the complete opposite of their guild master. Yoojin looks at Yerim fondly while thinking that she is steadily growing. She used to be an A ranker before regression. Now she is an S ranker who receives guidance from the veteran hunters aside from those in the Hayum guild. Yoojin continues to smile as he daydreams about how much Yerim will grow in the future. The difference in her life from before to now is so vast. It is an excellent thing for her that our MC sought her out. Sunghan and Yerim whisper to each other, thinking that they successfully distracted Yoojin from what happened. Sunghan decides to follow Yerim and shows the reward he got, which is a gate stone. He also shares his gratitude for becoming an S ranker after this raid. Yoojin is like an old man, and Sunghan and Yerim are the grandchildren trying their best to ensure the old man doesn't get stressed. Yerim continues the topic and asks what Yoojin got as a reward, saying she is really curious about it. Yoojin checks his inventory and finds an SS-grade item within. Yerim is amazed that Yoojin got an SS rank item as well. Yoojin clicks on it, and it glows bright blue, shocking everyone. The object appears with a blue aura around it. The item is called the Nameless Demon King's Old Spinning Wheel. As the blue light disappears, Yoojin and the rest take a good look at the SS-grade item. Yoojin says it is an old spinning wheel used by a demon king before. Chirpy climbs the wheel, taking a close look as well. Sunghan wonders if the item was used for threading, while Yerim thinks it is a weird hobby for a demon king to pick up. Yerim needs to meet Sadao Mao, and she'll gain enlightenment. Yerim puts the spinning wheel in Yoojin's head, wondering if it is meant to be equipped. Yoojin lets her do as she pleases while saying that the item seems to be a material or an ingredient instead of equipment. Yoojin holds it to his head, with Chirpy still atop the wheel. He thinks this system would have purposely given this to him for a reason, and he should ask them about it. As he thinks of the word dungeon, his mind suddenly makes the connection. He thinks of an S-rank dungeon and how his brother and Peace are entirely on their own inside one. Yoojin becomes gloomy, and Yerim and Sunhan are shocked at the change. Suddenly, Yoojin starts cursing again because of his stubborn brother. Yerim reminds Yoojin of the breathing technique to make him calm down. As the big bro, Yoojin can't stop himself from worrying. After some time has passed, Sunhan checks up on Yoojin in his room and finds that he is not asleep. Sunhan thinks that Yoojin is only spacing out since he can't see Yoojin checking out Yoon and Peace's status with his skill. Worried, Sunhan says that this is an early symptom of dementia. This shocks Yoojin, so he grabs the remote control claiming that he just can't sleep and will watch TV instead. The TV opens with a news show about how Sunhan Kim will soon be appointed Vice Guild Master of Haeun Guild. This makes Yoojin look at Sunhan with shock since the man being reported is right before him. Sunhan is a bit shy as he admits how Yerim was also considered for the position. However, she is still studying, so the guild chose him for the role. The guild made the right choice in choosing Sunhan. I just can't imagine Yerim as the Vice Guild Master. This makes Yoojin look at Sunhan with proud admiration. Yoojin clasps Sunhan's hand, announcing that he is the best man for the job and how he looks forward to it. Sunhan says his thanks, while Yoojin says that they should celebrate with a party for his promotion. Sunhan claims it is okay since many people already congratulated him, and even the Hanshin Guild sent him a bouquet as congratulations. Yoojin is amazed at this and remembers how Minyu Park paid close attention to Sunhan. Sunhan says he has a connection with them since he was part of the Hanshin Guild before. Now we're learning more about Sunhan's past. This is the first time Yoojin has heard about this, so Sunhan explains it further. He says the guild is under the Hanshin group, and he was colleagues with Mingyu back then. Sunhan received an offer to marry the owner's daughter after he awakened as an A rank, but after that, Mingyu awakened as an S ranker. So instead of Sunhan, Mingyu met the daughter and got married, and because of this, Mingyu became Hanshin Guild's guild master. Oh, so there was a case of arranged marriage. Yoojin thought it would be a good story to hear, so the sudden turn to drama shocked him speechless. Sunhan is calm as he tells how his relationship with Mingyu became strained. Yoojin compares it to a K-drama plot, and he is completely hooked. Feeling giddy, Yoojin asks if Mingyu is afraid that he might lose his position as a husband and that it will be stolen. Sunhan misses the point, saying he was only an A-ranker then, though Sunhan admits that the bouquet came with a letter saying he should stay in Haeun for good. Yoojin trembles at this news, thinking he is right in guessing the actual plot. Our MC's imagination is so wild that he is physically affected by such things. Sunhan remains nonchalant, saying he is relieved that Haeun is now stable. On top of that, Hanshin Guild doesn't see them as a threat despite their current number of S-rankers. He explains how Mingyu's personality is humble and how, unlike other guilds, he is not really out there to make Hanshin stronger. Yoojin looks at Sunhan, thinking how this man puts more weight on the welfare of the guild rather than his own. Sunhan smiles as he reveals how others said that his opportunity was stolen back then, but the truth is, Sunhan prefers how things are right now. He admits that he has no desire to become a guild master and feels more comfortable as a supporting character. Sunhan promises Yoojin that he will continue to support their guild master. Yoojin admiringly looks at Sunhan as he recalls how this same man cared for everyone from getting crushed by the rumbling rocks from Babur's fall. This proves how Sunhan will be a great team player despite becoming an S-ranker. Among the S-rankers, Sunhan is undoubtedly the most obedient of all. Yoojin is so happy that his brother's guild will have a bright future with the presence of Sunhan. He smiles cheerfully as he expresses his delight at having Sunhan beside him. Yoon pops out of the window as he agrees with Yoojin, commenting that Sunhan is a veteran in this profession. Yoojin and Sunhan are shocked by the appearance of Dakibi, while Yoon calmly greets his boss. Yoon gives a bag of food, saying he brought it as a gift so that he can eat it as well. That reasoning is perfect for gluttons. Sunhan is worried it might be dangerous, but Yoojin assures him that Yoon is his friend. Chirpy looks at Yoon and the food in wonder. Yoojin takes advantage of the situation and says, "I love you" to Yoon for taking the time to visit him. Yoojin hands him a drink as he thinks about how he already influenced Yoon and if there was any progress in his teleportation skill. Yoon eats the food he brought while holding the drink and Chirpy in both hands. Yoojin uses his skill on Yoon, and a message appears saying they are an incomplete species. It then adds that an essential item similar to its element is required. Yoojin is confused by this message, as he wonders what incomplete species are. Yoon is so busy eating that he mistakes Chirpy for a dumpling. In Yoon's defense, Chirpy looks a lot like food. Yoojin mulls over the system's message on how there should be similar elements, then thinks about how Yoon's fundamental element was an old water wheel. This thought gives Yoojin an idea, and he takes the SS grade item he got as a reward. Thinking that both are old wheels might be why the system gave it as a reward. Yoojin holds the nameless Demon King's old spinning wheel and asks Yoon if he needs it. Yoojin explains how he got it as a reward while Yoon holds it and gives it a closer look. Yoon says it belonged to a Demon King before and the item is older than him. Yoojin is surprised that Yoon can appraise it. Yoon describes a Demon King as a scary being with big horns and a strong body. Yoojin doesn't think much of this and simply agrees. Hearing Yoojin's agreement, Yoon decides to become a Demon King then. Yoojin asks what Yoon means and how he will become a different species. Yoon wants to scare people, hence he chose to become the Demon King. Yoojin cannot finish his question, and the SS grade item starts glowing, and dark tentacle-like power emerges. They were so shocked by this development, but Sunhan quickly activated his shield to protect them. Sunhan asks what this is, but the dark stuff takes hold of him, and Yoojin panics as he asks Yoon what he is doing right now. Yoojin looks at Yoon and sees the big horns, bat-like wings, and even Yoon's hair has turned dark. Yoon claims he will become a Demon King since those are scarier beings and laugh loudly. Yoojin is overwhelmed by the change and uses his skill to check Yoon's status. Currently, Yoon is an SS ranker. His classification changed from Dokkaebi to a Class 1 demon named Demon King Yoon. Does he really have to become a Demon King just to scare people? Yoojin is horrified at how Yoon turned into a Demon King, as Yoon proclaims he is now one. This makes Yoojin question if this was the right thing for him to do. Yoon madly laughs as he proclaims he is now a Demon King. Red energy fills the air and the pressure it exudes is too much that Yoojin's B-grade shield activates. The Dokkaebi turned into a complete wacko. Yoojin is confused about what is happening as he holds Chirpy in one hand. To suddenly evolve into an SS ranker Demon King is unheard of, and Yoojin wonders if Yoon is now even stronger than Babar in his current state. For Yoojin, Babar is more manageable than Yoon. Nope, you're only saying that cause you successfully dealt with Babar. Sunhan screams for Yoojin, but one of the dark tentacles keeps hold of him and covers his neck. Yoojin yells back, but Yoon is so excited by this power. He continues to laugh and asks if Yoojin is now scared. Yoojin knows that if Yoon is left alone, everything nearby will be ruined since even an S-class like Sunhan is having difficulty handling this situation. Then, Yoojin realizes that, although Sunhan is in a tight position, Yoojin remains unscathed. Yoon can easily pierce Yoojin's shield or strangle him, but Yoon is not doing any of those. Yoon's aura has not touched Yoojin or the area near him. Yoojin wonders if this is Chirpy's ability, but seeing the little guy knocked out, he concludes that it is not because of Chirpy. This gives him an idea, and he checks his skill to see if Yoon is still under his influence. Yoojin is relieved that this stubborn kid is still under his influence even though he is now a Demon King. He concludes that Yoon still perceives him as the grandma who took good care of him before as a water wheel. So Yoon is in complete control of the situation. He's just doing things as he pleases. With this realization, Yoojin musters up his acting skill and embodies the characteristics of a nagging grandma. Yoojin is irritated as he yells at Yoon that he is not scared, calling Yoon a brat. He scolds Yoon for causing chaos in a hospital, making Yoon stop whatever he is doing. Yoojin then takes a fishing rod toy from his inventory. He yells for Yoon to come over, and the doctors want to punish him. Yoojin smacks Yoon on the legs with the toy fishing rod as he reprimands Yoon. Yoon stammers while calling Yoojin grandma but corrects himself and calls Yoojin boss instead. Yoon feels confused as he asks if Yoojin is not scared now that he is a Demon King. Yoon can't let go of playing pranks even though he is now a Demon King. Yoojin yells that there is nothing scary about a Demon King since it is cliché and that a Dokkaebi is multiple times more terrifying. As Yoojin says this, he thinks about how Yoon really loves to scare people whenever he can. But since he is still under his influence, Yoon may still listen to him if he says something along these lines. Yoojin reminds Yoon of how Myungwoo and Heian fainted back when he was a goblin. Yoon says that Yoojin said he wasn't scary as a Dokkaebi. Then Yoon wonders if others are the same. Yoon looks at the restrained Sunhan. Yoojin and Sunhan are surprised. So Yoojin makes a scared expression to cue Sunhan. Sunhan somehow gets the message and shouts that he agrees that Dokkaebis are much scarier. He adds that he was only startled because he is worried for Yoojin's safety. Han said all this while still tied up and hanging in the air. Yoojin proves his point with this, slightly concerned if it will work. Han is slowly following our MC's road to acting. Yoon then calms down and starts changing his form. Yoojin is glad it is working, pushing the goblins are scarier idea by inciting Han to agree that Yoon's dokebi is much scarier. Han, Yoojin, and even Chirpy act like they are so scared. Han also says how anyone who sees him will faint at sight. Yoon looks at them with wonder and smiles, hearing their cries of horror. Yoon has the makings of a sadist. He laughs and concludes that he won't be a demon king anymore. Just as it was easy for him to turn into a demon, Yoon broke off the red aura and released Han. Han comments on how things are going back to normal. Yoojin looks at Yoon and says not everything did. Yoon's bat-like wings disappear, and he proclaims that instead of a demon king, he will be the great dokebi King Yoon. Yoon's hair reverts to white, and his mask cracks into pieces with his transformation. His clothes also change into something elegant now. Anyone can see the beauty hidden behind the mask. Han is right, people will surely faint if they see Yoon. The nameless demon king's old spinning wheel is now attached to a chain and is worn like a necklace by Yoon. Not missing a beat, he announces his own arrival with grandeur and a cloud-like aura. Yoojin, Chirpy, and Han are all amazed by this change in Yoon, and Yoojin can't help saying that Yoon has evolved. Han then asks if everything is okay now. Looking closely at this item, Yoon elevates the spinning wheel chain to his neck, as if answering Han. He says he still has some of the Demon King's power, but his power as a dokebi is much stronger now. This is possible because Yoon has decided to become the great dokebi king instead. Yoon should have just stuck with being the dokebi instead of causing all that trouble. Yoon announces he got new skills, as people outside the hospital room knock to ask what is happening and if the patient is okay. Yoojin instructs Han to deal with the matter outside. Han goes to the door but still hesitates. He asks if Yoojin will be fine with just the two of them. Yoojin reassures him that it is safe since they don't harm people. As he says this, Yoon is back to how he usually is and plays with Chirpy, who is in his head. Han leaves the room, and Yoojin admits that Yoon did destroy the room they are in. He turns his head to where Yoon and Chirpy are and asks for Yoon's new skills, but gets stunned when Yoojin finds a complete copy of himself, whether it is Yoojin's face, body shape, and even his clothes. Yoon then says that he is Yoojin. I'm sure Lil Bro would still be able to tell who's the real big bro if he sees this. Chirpy can't help but be confused since two of his dads are before him. Yoon explains his skill dokebi mask lets him transform his appearance at will, but this does not apply to the stats or skills of those that he copies. Yoojin says it would be a real cheat if he could also copy those. Yoon returns Chirpy to his boss and reverts to his new dokebi king form. Yoojin is so curious that he asks if Yoon managed to unlock a skill that lets him travel longer distances. Yoon checks and says that there is and activates dokebi gate. From where Yoon stands arises a two-door red gate with a traditional Korean design. Yoon explains that the skill lets him travel far every 10 days as long as the place is somewhere he has visited before. That is so convenient. Since it is a big gate, Yoon can bring an army when there are dungeon breaks. Hearing this news, Yoojin can't help but be ecstatic. Yoojin jumps up and down, and Yoon is confused by his boss' actions. Yoojin stops jumping and instead cries. Yoojin is so happy that Yoon managed to unlock this skill. He was worried that Yoon would stay as a demon king, unable to use such skills. Now that he has seen that Yoon has the skill, he is sure that dungeon research will be easier to conduct with Yoon around. With this line of thought, Yoojin says they should investigate a dungeon right now. Yoon stops him before Yoojin can go on and claims he is busy. This perplexes Yoojin, so Yoon explains that as a great dokebi king, he needs his own people to serve him. To do this, Yoon must visit old places with old things that have been used for a long time. Understanding dawns on Yoojin, and he asks if Yoon can now create goblins. The dokebi gate opens, and Yoon confirms that he has a responsibility and duty to do so as the great dokebi king. Yoon enters the gate and waves goodbye to his boss. Yoojin is stunned that Yoon is going to go just like that. He thinks fast about how he can make Yoon conduct work. Yoojin asks Yoon to investigate dungeons while he is making subordinates. After checking out Japan, he also suggests that Yoon visits China since its huge population will be conducive to his goal. Yoojin makes Yoon pinky promise to investigate dungeons as he does his task, and Yoon agrees to it. As he leaves, Yoon looks back, saying that he will be back after he finds a lot of subordinates. If Yoon can make awaken some of his kinds, and some of those are S rankers, our MC's life would be easier. Yoojin and Chirpy wave goodbye, and Yoojin sighs with relief that it is taken care of somehow. He wonders how many subordinates Yoon has in mind as he looks around the destroyed room. Ignoring the mess, Yoojin wonders if he should create a Dakibi village and purchase territory for Yoon and his subordinates. Yoojin is engrossed in his thoughts, not knowing that after a few months he will regret letting Yoon go at this time. I wonder what kind of mayhem will Yoon pull at that time. In the Haeyeon Guild headquarters, Shimyeon is on the phone with the chairman of the Korean Hunters Association. They talk about how Yoojin will be discharged that day and that the monster training facility is done with its construction. Shimyeon wants to say more, but he pauses and ends the call right after. He yells for an emergency, worried that something will happen right when their guildmaster is away. Where's the fire? It's rare for Shimyeon to get this flustered. Haeyeon looks at her uncle and asks what exactly happened. Shimyeon says that the KHA sent a representative to escort Yoojin, which only confuses Haeyeon. She says this is safer for Yoojin than having another guildmaster as his escort. Shimyeon feels like he will get a headache. He explains that while those guildmasters are also dangerous, the person the association sent is on a different level. In KHA, the chief officer tags that he is out for a business trip. This man is the representative that the association decided to send as an escort and facility tour guide for Yoojin. And he is the same person that Shimyeon deems a lot more dangerous. Is this guy even more dangerous than the Sejong Guild Master? In the hospital, Yerim frowns as she asks what happened in one night. She is bewildered at how a specially constructed hunter ward can get destroyed. Yoojin reassures her that nothing concerning really happened since he's okay. Yerim doubts his words while looking closely at Yoojin's eye bags. Yerim says with conviction that he didn't get any sleep, so there's no way he's okay. Yoojin looks away, thinking he was only up all night since he is checking with his skill to see if his brother is still among the living. That's ingenious. He can use my kid as the best skill that way too. Just then, Yoojin realizes something is wrong and asks why Yerim is there on a weekday when she has school to go to. Yerim is shocked at how sharp Yoojin is and makes an excuse that the teacher sent her over. She scratches her nape, but Yoojin can imagine how Yerim must have intimidated her teacher in doing so. He scolds Yerim to follow the rules even if she is an S ranker. Yoojin continues to lecture Yerim as they walk out of his hospital room, but Yerim simply laughs it off. Yoojin knows well how the awakened can easily ignore the laws if they wish to. This is more true when it comes to S rankers who have strength beyond what society can handle. Even in foreign lands, the S rankers have greater control than the government. In some cases, they have entirely overthrown the government. So, it is something akin to a rebellion once a group of awakened chooses to ignore the law. In the case of Korea, the nation is still able to do its job because of a particular person's existence. Yoojin tells Yerim to return to school since someone has already been assigned to accompany him. It's the first time Yerim hears about it and asks who it is. Yoojin explains how KHA sent a representative who would escort and give him a tour of a monster training facility. The person Yoojin refers to is the only S-ranker who serves the country and supports the KHA when dealing with the big guilds. This man is also responsible for arresting high-rankers who have broken the law. I guess this is the same guy who arrested Yoojin back when Yoojin visited another guild and caused destruction. Yoojin is in front of the hospital with Yerim, and Yerim exclaims upon learning that the guy is Chief Song, whom she's heard before from Hyuna. Just then, a man approaches them, asking for confirmation if he is Hunter Yoojin Han. The man presents his identification card, indicating that he is the Taewon Song they were just talking about. Taewon introduces himself to them as the Chief Officer of the Awakened People Management, affiliated with the Ministry of Public Administration and Security. It was the first time Yerim and Yoojin met the man, so they were surprised to find that Chief Song would be such a huge man. Yoojin knows how big S-rankers are, but Taewon's large build just pops out because of his broad frame. It seems like he is bigger than Hyunjae or Sunghan. Taewon says to wait while he parks his car and moves away. Yoojin and Yerim watch Taewon, who struggles to get in his red car. The two felt like they were having a hard time with what Taewon was doing, and Yerim couldn't help but ask why he goes around in such a way. Yoojin says it might be because he's a public servant. Yerim asks why an S-ranker would drive such a car. But before Yoojin can answer, the black car arrives and doesn't stop until it hits Taewon's red car. The impact causes the red car to destruction with parts of it flying in the air. Yerim and Yoojin are so shocked that Yoojin can only imagine that they have to prepare for the funeral right after their meeting. Is it goodbye already? The red car is utterly destroyed, but Taewon simply gets out of the rubble and Yoojin is relieved that Taewon is an S ranker, so he is sure to survive such an accident. Yoojin wonders who has the gall to do such a thing to Taewon. A man steps out of the black car, saying it was unintentional. The man is none other than Yoonjae, who smilingly says he always gets this urge to accelerate whenever he sees Taewon's large form bending inside the car. This dude really loves to provoke people into a fight. Taewon looks at Yoonjae while Yerim can't help cursing at Yoonjae. Yoojin immediately covers Yerim's mouth and tells her to shut her mouth and instead help evacuate the people in the hospital. Yoojin is worried that there will be a big fight between the two S-rankers as he watches the two stand a foot apart. Yoonjae smiles as he offers to pay for the damage or even give Taewon his black car to replace the destroyed vehicle. Taewon glares at the car key being shoved into his chest, but he only sighs and keeps calm, claiming he can't accept such things above a certain amount since it may be considered bribery. Taewon says he will call his insurance company instead and turns away from Kimjae. I like this new character's indifference. This turn of events shocked both Yerim and Yoojin. They are amazed to find that there is an S-ranker who avoids fighting with another S-ranker. Yerim says that if it were their guildmaster or Hyuna, everything would have exploded by now. The two get more stunned when they find Taewon cleaning the broken remains of his car. There is no doubt that this guy is a great model of what S-rankers should aspire to be. Yerim and Yoojin find Taewon's existence eye-opening. Taewon's nature as an S-rank police officer distinguishes him from those unruly kids. Taewon calls to report the incident, while Yoojin continues to admire the man for remaining calm despite what happened. He thinks about it for a moment, and Yoojin deduces that this is not the first time this kind of thing happened to Taewon. Yoojin glares at Yoonjae, thinking that this guy is the main perpetrator whenever Taewon experiences this kind of thing. Our MC treats Taewon like one of his kids even though he hasn't influenced him. Feeling Yoojin's gaze, Yoonjae turns to look at Yoojin and smiles innocently while putting in all his charm. Caught by the man, Yoojin pales and feels chills running through his body. Yoonjae walks towards Yoojin and asks if he is alright, since he must be devastated to find that his brother is off on a dungeon raid with only peace. Yoojin was reminded of this, but his current concern lies with the man before him. Yoonjae offers a bag filled with sweets to Yoojin, but Yerim snatches them away and eats them in front of Yoonjae. That's it, Yerim. Protect our MC by eating his snacks. While munching, Yerim asks why Yoonjae is there when Yoojin already got released from the hospital. Yoonjae smiles, saying they refuse his admittance, hence he can't visit. Yoojin wonders what exactly transpired while he was asleep. Still, he changes the subject by asking why Yoonjae is there right now. Yoonjae says he is there to pick him up since Yoojin is the father of Soyeon's infant foreign-winged dark dragon. He explains that Soyeon is already at the facility and offers to ride together and tour the place. Now he's planning to take Taewon's job. Hearing this, Yerim gets in the way between Yoonjae and Yoojin. Taewon is done with his call and hears this as well. He tells Yoonjae that presenting the facility to Yoojin is his responsibility. Yoonjae smiles and reminds Taewon that his car is destroyed. Yoonjae adds salt to the wound by asking if Taewon intends to have Yoojin ride such a thing. Yoojin rebuts that it was all Yoonjae's fault. But Yoonjae ignores this and insults Taewon's choice of vehicle. Yoonjae gets serious as he asks if Taewon intends to harm such a special person even though he's a public servant. Taewon listens to Yoonjae, then bows to Yoojin and apologizes for his carelessness. Yoojin is distressed by this. In Yoojin's head, he curses Yoonjae and wants him to buzz off since he is obviously at fault here. Our MC should just curse at Yoonjae out loud. That guy deserves it. Yoojin tells Taewon that he can just have Haeun send him a car. He subtly says to Yoonjae that he should be busy and that it is enough with Soyeon's presence in the facility. Yoonjae acts miserable at Yoojin's words, saying he took the time to go there, yet he is being rejected just like that. Yoojin becomes alarmed and scolds Yoonjae for acting like he is being abandoned. Yoonjae smiles at Yoojin, wondering out loud why Yoojin is acting like this when he knows they have gotten closer. Yoonjae claims that he has poured his heart and soul into doing so, and the shoujo-esque background is back. But the choice of white lilies is kinda sus though. This somehow perplexed Yoojin into thinking that Yoonjae was probably right since the man did feed peace, the sweets in that garden. The studs, the list is getting longer. Yerim tries to snap Yoojin out of those thoughts by reminding him not to give in. But Yerim is too late, and Yoojin agrees to ride together as long as everyone can join. Yoonjae has a happy face as he admits he is glad about Yoojin's decision. I don't know if our MC is gullible or if this is a part of his plans. Since Yoojin has decided, Yerim looks back at Taewon and notices that the man is glaring. Yerim wonders if it is because Yoonjae keeps picking a fight with him, but she looks closer and looks at where Yoonjae and Yoojin are. Yoojin is busy reminding Yoonjae that he can't cause trouble or the new building might get destroyed. Yerim realizes that Taewon is not glaring at Yoonjae. The person Taewon is actually eyeing is Yoojin. This makes Yerim ponder if Taewon has an ulterior motive against Yoojin, and we now have a plot twist. Yoojin's group arrives at the newly constructed building intended for raising magic beasts. The place's design is on par with the Sejong Guild, and there are even areas where the beasts can roam outside. Taewon gives a tour, explaining the architectural design, but Yoonjae butts in and takes over in presenting. Whenever Taewon started talking, Yoonjae would talk over him and continue whatever Taewon was about to say. Yoonjae keeps doing it, making Yoojin wonder if this is okay. The Sejong Guild master is blatantly being rude to Taewon. No surprise there. Soyeon arrives carrying a big basket and happily greets Yoojin. She was waiting for Yoojin to arrive and admitted how excited she was. She says she stepped on the gas, but Soyeon cuts her story short when she realizes Taewon is with them. Soyeon immediately says that she didn't exceed the speed limit, and Taewon assures her he isn't there to make an arrest. This interaction makes Yoojin think that Soyeon frequently has to deal with Taewon when riding her motorcycle. Yoojin then sees a sleeping thorn-winged dark dragon inside the basket. Yoojin is about to mention the dragon's name, but Soyeon cuts in, saying that she named the dragon Comet. Yerim says she did an excellent job in doing so. Yup, don't leave the naming to our MC. Taewon also closely examines the dragon and comments on how small it is for a mount. Comet yawns as Soyeon fondly says that the magic beast will grow a lot in the future. Yoojin uses his promising sprout skill on Comet and determines that the dragon is currently D rank, with the probability of becoming an A or S rank in the future. And it has 4 skills, 1 S grade and 3 A grade skills that can be unlocked after maturity. Another easy addition to our MC's S classes list once it matures. Yoojin shows the owner's token to Comet as he greets the dragon. And as expected, Yoojin's title of perfect caregiver has multiplied its effects. Comet flaps its wings as it greets Yoojin, and his system notification indicates that the dragon likes Yoojin. Soyeon is glad that Comet flew and gushes at how adorable her dragon is for immediately getting attached to Yoojin. Just then, a shadow passes by, making Taewon glance above. It is Blue who looks like he's about to attack. The golden griffin screeches, making everyone aware of its presence. Taewon yells that it is dangerous as Blue lunges toward Yoojin, but his warning doesn't really matter because Blue has been trained long before on how to land on Yoojin. Yoojin greets Blue as the griffin affectionately rubs its face on Yoojin's head. Blue also looks at Comet with big eyes, and Yoojin introduces them to one another, explaining that it is a new sibling. As Yoojin reminds them to be nice to one another, Blue flexes his muscles at Comet, and he suddenly throws Comet away, shocking both Yoojin and Soyeon. Blue is like that rowdy kid in class who makes a mess of everything. Soyeon panics while Yoojin tries to calm her, saying it is some sort of tradition, but he yells again at the misbehaving Blue. Taewon is a bit confused about what happened and uncertain about what to do. Yoonjae smiles as he explains what the broken wall is made of. This, of course, angers Yoojin since Yoonjae is not helping at all. Seeing that Yoonjae has no intention of helping, Yoojin commands Yerim and Soyeon to grab the magic beasts while he distracts them. Soyeon asks how Yoojin will do this, and Yoojin brings out some musical instruments. He explains that he carries these in case of emergencies. Yoojin starts playing them, successfully distracting Blue and Comet from flying amok. This amazed Yerim and Soyeon, who thought Yoojin was a true professional. The two then do their job and catches the 2 magic beasts. Yoojin instructs them further. This is like the scene when Blue, Salt, and Pepper first arrived. Taewon can only watch as this scene unfolds before him. He clenches his fist by his side as he thinks there really is something wrong. After some time, things were able to settle down. Soyeon looks disheveled as she entrusts Comet to an also unkempt Yoojin. Blue is now locked up in a cage while Comet rests in his basket. Soyeon says she will visit every day whenever she does not have a dungeon raid. Yoojin reassures her that Comet will be fine. Soyeon sweetly bids her dragon goodbye and finally leaves to prepare for Comet's home. Seeing how Soyeon is acting, Yoojin is confident that Soyeon is a great mom for Comet. But this only reminds him what kind of dad his younger brother is to Peace, and he wishes that Yoon could be kinder to the magic beast, even just a little bit. Yoojin puts the resting Comet in another cage and is relieved that things are now in order. He looks at Yerim and Yoonjae and reminds them they have somewhere else to be. Yoojin thinks that will only interrupt him. As if on cue, Yera moves beside Yoojin and tells the other two that they should return now. Yoojin reminds her to return to her school, making Yerim feel tormented. You are not the only student who dreads going to school. Yoojin also tells Yoonjae that he can go now since he is busy, and Taewon can tell him about the rest of the facility. Yoonjae ponders on this a bit while looking at Taewon. Still, he only smiles, assuring Yoojin that his time is never wasted when Yoojin is involved. Yerim says the same and adds that it should be Taewon who should leave first. Yerim is adamant that she will only leave after Taewon does. She then reveals how Taewon had glared at Yoojin since before they arrived. Yoojin sweats as he hears this, but Yerim is wrong in thinking that Yoojin has been unaware of it all this time. Taewon looks away, seeing as he has been found out. Taewon needs to take acting lessons from our MC. Yoojin observes Taewon and is somewhat sure there is another reason for such a person to be here. Yoojin imagines that it would be related to his brother Yoo-yoon, thinking that this is something like a parent-teacher conference where Taewon would reveal the misdeeds of his child. Yoojin wonders why Yoonjae was also there, but he still urges the other two to go ahead. He reminds Yerim that Taewon is a public official, so there is a meager chance he will kidnap him. He then looks at Taewon for confirmation, and Taewon says the only exception is if Yoojin committed anything illegal. Our MC should be behind bars since he already committed numerous misdeeds after he regressed. Yoojin then looks at Yoonjae, calling him beloved guildmaster. He says he knows how much effort Yoonjae already put in for him, so listening to him now would also be favorable. Yoonjae seriously looks at Yoojin, determining if it is genuinely alright to leave Yoojin with Taewon. Yoojin glares back and Yoonjae finally gives in. Yoonjae says he has no choice but to listen and only hopes nothing terrible will happen. That's weird. Yoonjae is not smiling. Following the step of Yoonjae, Yerim decides to leave and reminds Yoojin to immediately call her if something happens. Yoojin is finally relieved that they are gone and offers coffee to Taewon. Taewon agrees and they both head to a break room. Things are already set up in a room, so Yoojin prepared coffee. Yoojin seals himself, thinking he will accept Taewon's complaints about his beloved brother. He tries to open up the topic by saying how hard it must be to deal with the S-rankers, especially for him, who does it as a job. Taewon claims that it is better now that there are fewer occurrences of dungeon breaks. He explains that it was worse back when it happened numerous times since S-rankers would be dealing with those, and things become chaotic when two of them are in the same area. Yoojin asks if Yoo-yoon is the same as he takes a box of coffee from one of the cabinets. Yoojin wonders if this is the topic that Taewon wants to discuss since he knows a lot must have happened when he wasn't around. Yoojin is sure he won't be shocked by anything that Taewon reveals. Just then, Taewon reveals how his arm was cut off because of Yoo-yoon. Lil Bro's a beast. Yoojin stumbles and coffee boxes and cups fall on him. Yoojin is so ashamed that his brother did something horrendous. Taewon reassures him that arms can be attached back with potions, and Yoo-yoon, you take his arm, hence he is alright now. He might have picked it up, but it still doesn't change the fact that Lil Bro did something horrendous. Yoojin picks himself up and makes some coffee while commenting that his brother is worse than a beast. Taewon stands up and admits that it is the exact reason why he is worried. He opened the topic with how Yoojin went to a dungeon with S-rankers. Yoojin laughs it off, but Taewon continues. He says that S-rankers can't be managed, and for an F-ranker like him who has unique skills, Yoojin is still susceptible to them. If he is worried for Yoojin, then why was he glaring earlier? Yoojin looks back as he says it is why his brother is always worried, but he doesn't finish his sentence since Taewon is now by his side, looming over him. Taewon admits that the real reason for his presence is to check on Yoojin. This shocks Yoojin a bit, and Taewon holds Yoojin's shoulder. Taewon wants an honest answer as he asks Yoojin if there was any situation where he received any kind of damage from them, whether physical or psychological. He seriously asks if nothing really happened with them in the dungeon. Many things happen in that dungeon, but our MC is still unaware of what happened after defeating Babar. Yoojin stares at Taewon thinking about his question. Still, Yoojin breaks off into a smile, saying that Taewon is such a worrywart. Yoojin explains that it was indeed difficult to stop those kids from fighting, but what transpired was not enough to cause any sort of damage to him. The coffee Yoojin was holding falls to the ground as Taewon attacks Yoojin. Yoojin is stunned by this turn of events, while Taewon only confirms his belief that the real problem is Yoojin. Yoojin is confused since he thought Taewon was there to talk about his brother. So why is the man attacking him now? What? Why is the officer attacking our MC? Yoojin gets lifted off the floor and he wonders if he should fight back and what is the underlying reason for Taewon to do such a thing. Taewon glares at Yoojin and is about to say something, but a bag of toys drops to the floor. Soyoung is by the door and finds this shocking scene before her. She immediately reacts and attacks Taewon with a spear from her inventory. She asks what he is doing, but Taewon does not answer. Taewon blocks the attack with one arm, letting go of Yoojin in the process. Yoojin coughs but still thinks calmly, knowing that Soyoung can't face Taewon because of their rank difference. But it is still a good thing that Soyoung arrived. Soyoung continues to attack, but Taewon catches the other end before it hits his face. Soyoung is startled simultaneously. She is worried since she knows that fighting against an S ranker is futile for an A ranker like herself. Taewon glares at her but then lets go of the spear, bows before them, and apologizes. Taewon then takes a potion from his inventory and offers it to Yoojin to use on his neck. Yoojin is about to accept it, but Soyoung smacks it away, wasting the potion. Soyoung is angry since Taewon attacked Yoojin, but now he is offering a potion to the same man he attacked. While Yoojin is more concerned about the wasted potion, Taewon must be crazy, but our MC is crazier for letting things go just like that. Soyoung then scolds Yoojin for not being wary since there might be something in the potion that is dangerous for him. Yoojin finally understands why Soyoung did it, while Taewon agrees that Soyoung is right about this. Soyoung is stunned that Taewon would agree, and Taewon explains that Yoojin should be more careful. Really, a piece of safety advice from the same guy who made the attack. Taewon explains that he has been observing Yoojin since they first met in the hospital. Seeing Yoojin interact with the S rankers, Taewon got confused. He says it is understandable if he is only close to Yerim. Still, Yoojin is obviously close to magic beasts and the Season Guildmaster. Yoojin is confused and asks if being close to them is terrible. Taewon says that is not the problem. Taewon explains that it is his first time seeing a low-ranking awakened who is at ease around high-ranking awakened and magic beasts. He then compares the high-ranking awakened to belligerent dogs that most people would fear, even more so if those dogs were not leashed. Taewon insists that an average person would be threatened or afraid when faced with such beings. It's someone who already saw that vast greatness of power for himself is not even scared. Taewon says that even though he attacked Yoojin, Yoojin is calm. Welcome to the club, Taewon. Everyone here thinks the MC is weird. Yoojin reflects on what Taewon says, thinking this is only possible because of his fear-resistant skill. But then he realizes something weird. No notification said the skill was activated. Yoojin knows that the skill activates whenever it surpasses a specific point of fear. Still, the skill didn't activate when Taewon attacked him or even when you became a demon king. Yoojin finally understands what Taewon is trying to say. Our MC is the type who needs to be threatened to gain enlightenment. Taewon says it is not bravery, and it is more like Yoojin's perception of danger is faulty. Taewon asks if Yoojin knows this. He's about to talk some more, but Soyoung interjects, asking if attacking Yoojin is the right way to determine such a thing. She then tells Taewon to go back and that she will submit an official complaint for what happened as a guild. Taewon answers back that what he is doing is protecting Yoojin from that same guild. Doesn't this remind everyone before our MC turned back time? Lil Bro left Big Bro to bear an injury just so Big Bro wouldn't go inside dungeons. Yoojin tries to stop the two, saying they might destroy the building. Agreeing that Taewon is right, he admits he should be more careful and thanks Taewon for the advice. This stuns Soyoung, who thinks that thanking the guy who just hurt him is incorrect. This makes Taewon flustered as he takes a notebook and writes in it. He comments on how weird Yoojin is but still leaves his number for Yoojin. He turns to leave and says that Yoojin should call him whenever he needs help, though he does hope that Yoojin will never end up in a bad situation. That night, Yoojin checks if there are still some marks on his neck. He recalls how hard it was to make Soyoung stop from filing a complaint. Yoojin then thinks of Taewon and how weird the guys are. He wonders if Yoon was also provoked into slashing Taewon as well. Big Bro really trusts that Lil Bro wouldn't harm unless provoked. Yoojin sighs and thinks that Taewon will soon die in a dungeon raid, and after that incident, Sejan will leave Korea. This situation would then create gossip that it was Yoonjae who killed Taewon. People will also suspect Yoon because, by that time, Haeun would be developing well. Still, Yoojin believes it can't be his brother, even if Yoon has an excellent reason to do so. Yoojin continues to mull over this since he doesn't know the whole truth of that incident. Taewon is well known for clashing against guilds which birthed that kind of rumor. Yoojin thinks this is also why Yoonjae is meddling. Yoojin looks at the number Taewon left as he thinks the man's behavior from before is indeed more worried about him. But Yoojin also admits that Taewon's chosen method is ruthless. Yoojin tries to snap himself out of it, thinking he wants to look at the guy's positive side. Yoojin feels like he has become apathetic. This characteristic of his probably developed because of the daily presence of high-ranking individuals or the side effects of fear resistance. It might also be possible that our MC was just born that way. Yoojin walks to another room and finds Myung-woo there. Myung-woo asks if everything there is all of Yoojin's stuff. Yoojin says it is, and Myung-woo presents in with a special rope that ties all of Yoojin's things in a big bundle. Myung-woo explains that he will keep all these in his smithy and bring everything out once they are in the new place. Yoojin comments on how Myung-woo made another fantastic item. Yoojin asks if Myung-woo is already done moving in at the facility's penthouse, and Myung-woo says he did. Myung-woo adds that the place is so big that it can feel lonely. Hearing this, Yoojin presents a keycard to Myung-woo for his home. Yoojin says Myung-woo can visit, making the other man so happy. Why does it feel like this story is really shipping Yoojin with Myung-woo? Yoojin says Myung-woo is free to visit, then asks a favorite have an item made that can help increase his mentality when he is free. Myung-woo says he can easily do that, and then asks what it is for. Yoojin doesn't answer. He thinks having such an item will help lessen the side effects of fear resistance and prove helpful when using Stern Mother Hendrol Surgeon's skill. Myung-woo looks at Yoojin and asks if Yoojin plans to place himself in danger again. Suddenly, the wall crashes and breaks to pieces as Yerim walks in as if the hole she made is the apparent door to the place. This kid never learns. Yerim shouts about how she knew what happened, confirming Myung-woo's suspicions. Yoojin tries to explain, but Yerim is angry at how Yoojin made her and Yoonjae leave, and right after, he is almost killed. Yoojin says that Taewon is worried for him. Still, Yerim sarcastically asks if attacking is the new method to show worry for another person. She makes a good point. Yoojin bears the scolding while Myung-woo reminds him to be careful. Myung-woo is anxious for Yoojin's safety, while Yerim is near to tears. She says she always feels terrible when such things happen to Yoojin. Yerim grabs Yoojin's hands as she recalls her promise to protect him. Still, she has let him be kidnapped, and today he almost died at the hands of another S-ranker. Yerim continues by saying that the guildmaster is away, and it is up to her to protect Yoojin, whatever it may take. Yoojin smiles fondly at Yerim and thanks her. He adds that he will be more careful as well. You're making your own kid anxious, MC. Yoojin thinks he has been somewhat indifferent, and everyone around him is concerned. He resolves to be warier, but even though Yoojin decides this, another accident occurs. Yerim is bleeding and slumps. Yoojin looks at it being before them as he tries to support and wake Yerim. I can't really tell if we can still call this foreshadowing. Things are going well until that particular morning. The magic beasts are out of their cages and enjoying their time under the sun. Even Blue is behaving, and he is not attacking Salt or Pepper. Blue definitely made some progress. Yerim is glad everyone is having fun in the new place since they can also spend their time in a rooftop garden. Chirpy is busy falling in love with some flowers, and Yerim comments on how the magic beasts are full of energy. But she suddenly stops and yells for Yoojin, who looks dead on one of the benches. Yerim asks what happened and if Yoojin couldn't get enough sleep. Yoojin says that everyone is so energetic. They also discover that Comet is actually a nocturnal magic beast active from midnight to morning. Like any parent, our MC must stay up late for the kids. Yerim comments that these are the troubles of parenting and that Blue is no help since the kid is also always causing trouble. Just right then, Blue creates chaos. Yoojin says this much is okay so that they can grow healthy. He adds that Blue is bright since the Golden Griffin is the type to stay close and never strays far from him. As if on cue, Blue checks if he is still close to where Yoojin is. Yerim asks why he is complimenting the troublemaker when it is now destroying the garden. Chirpy flies to where Yoojin is and gives him some flowers it was just looking at earlier. Yerim comments on how enamored Yoojin is. But before Yerim finishes, Blue arrives with a tree filled with flowers on its claws, looking proud of himself. Yerim then smashes the tree into pieces, and Yerim scolds Blue for causing chaos when Yoojin is already tired. She also reminds Blue that the garden is new, yet Blue is already destroying it. Yoojin calms Yerim down and says it is okay. He explains how this kind of thing is natural for magic beasts, and that one can't really force them to understand humans' way of thinking. Blue flies to Yoojin, crying. Yoojin says that Blue only wanted to give him flowers, seeing that Chirpy did the same before. Isn't this deja vu? This must be how our MC dealt with Lil Bro back when young Yoojin brought home branches from trees. Not forgetting Yerim, Yoojin shows his appreciation by using Blue's wing to rub Yerim's hair as he compliments Yerim for being a good girl. Yerim's cheeks flush pink as she shouts that she does not require the same treatment as the magic beast. Feeling happy, Yerim says that the magic beasts are probably so happy since they have Yoojin taking care of them. This kid is envious of the magic beast. Yerim ruffles the feathers off her head and tells Yoojin to rest since she will look after everyone for him. Yoojin says he would love to do just that, but today is the first day of their facility. Now that he is open for business, all kinds of people, especially foreigners, will want to get his services. Yoojin hopes to easily gain his target 50 S-rankers by building trust and influencing magic beasts and the Awakened who will visit. Yoojin checks his phone for his first client. A DM from Ryit told him that her brother would be in Korea tomorrow. I guess Ryit can't use translation apps, though our MC gets her main point nonetheless. Yoojin mulls over the twin of Dio Valsius. He made it a condition to meet Ryit's brother in exchange for raising Ryit's magic beast. Yoojin plans to take advantage of his skill Rao Chita's Bane to use the keyword and influence another S-ranker in the process. He recalls how Ryit mentioned that she raised her brother to perfection with a devious look. I doubt it will be anywhere as good as our MC raising his little bro. Yoojin wonders if the brother is anything like Ryit, imagining that the guy must also be a musclehead with a violent nature. These thoughts fill Yoojin with tension, but he looks at Yerim and assures himself that it will be fine since he has an S-ranker as his bodyguard. I doubt he's that burly since there was a silhouette of Ryit's brother back when she mentioned how she got the title with her brother. Just then, Yerim learns from her earpiece that Yoojin's guest has arrived and will soon be coming up. She embraces her role and reminds Yoojin to stick close to her, and that he can't meet others without guards. Yoojin agrees with this and lets Yerim play her part. Yoojin thinks that Ryit's brother might be horrible when the system informs him of the activation of Rao Chita's Bane and the double effects of his skills if he encounters Dio Valsius. A handsome young man with blonde hair appears before them. The man greets them and introduces himself as Noah Luir, the younger brother of Ryit. The bright appearance of Noah blinds both Yerim and Yoojin, thinking that Noah must be an angel. Is this really her brother? It feels like babies got switched somehow. Once they have settled down, Noah thanks Yoojin for inviting him over and apologizes for his sister's behavior. Noah's completely opposite demeanor amazes Yoojin. Noah recognizes the gaze thrown at him and explains that they don't look the same because their appearance changed after gaining their titles. Yoojin laughs it off as he thinks that it is not only Ryit's and Noah's appearances that are different, but also their personalities. Yerim asks Yoojin where he met Noah since he's a foreigner. Yoojin explains that he is friends with Noah's sister on social media. More like forced to become friends. Yerim is shocked by this revelation and scolds Yoojin that he shouldn't just meet anyone from social media. Yoojin couldn't believe he had heard such words from a middle schooler. Noah, of course, hears this, assures Yerim that he is not suspicious, and reveals his profession as a guildmaster based in France. Yerim is amazed that a young-looking man like Noah is already at the top of the food chain. Noah says he is only 19 years old, and Yerim says he is much younger than our guildmaster, who is 23. Yoojin is bewildered since there is another person similar to his brother. Yoojin feels that the wall they have built against Noah is crumbling, and he suggests that Noah and Yoojin should become friends. Yerim skeptically looks at Yoojin, asking if such a thing is possible. I can't help but agree with Yerim on this. Noah says his guild is so small that it shouldn't be compared with the Hayam guild. He explains that his guild, Arc, is focused on support skills. He adds that even before he and Ryit got their titles, the guild only had healing or support skills, and it was hard to develop the guild. Yoojin asks if Ryit is also part of Arc, and Noah says only he manages it. He explains that his sister only contacts him when she requires something and even tends to ignore Noah's schedule. Our poor boy, your sis is undoubtedly selfish. Based on what Noah has shared, Yoojin concludes that Noah is the slave support as his sister wreaks havoc against monsters. Yoojin looks at Noah, thinking how lucky he is to find such a kind S-ranker. And we've got the flower background again, though it does suit this Bishounen. Noah shyly claims how his sister helped him in many ways, and this only reinforces Yoojin's belief that Noah is a perfect candidate for influence. Yoojin is sure that just like how Noah listens to Ryit, Noah will be the same to him once he is influenced. He thinks his brother will gain a new friend if Yoojin becomes close to Noah. It makes him wonder if he can influence Ryit as well. Our MC is getting ahead of himself again with his imagination. He obviously forgot how cold his brother was when he got close to Yerim and Myung-woo. Thinking that things will work out, Yoojin says that Ri must have forced Noah to visit Korea and asks if he can help with his accommodations. Noah is surprised by the offer but says it is okay since he also has other businesses to attend in Korea. Yerim asks if Noah will stay long and if he already knows some great places to eat. Yoojin adds that Noah can ask them if he needs anything. Noah comments that they are kind, and Yoojin thinks this is the perfect time. Yoojin smiles and says it is no problem because Noah is a client. Then Yoojin says the keyword "I love you." MC, you should think things through even if this guy looks like an angel. The system notifies that with the double effects of Rao Chita's Bane, Noah is now under Yoojin's influence because of the keyword. Noah's face changes slightly, and his eyes widen. Yoojin checks his skill and confirms that Noah is now on his list. Yoojin is relieved that he quickly got one right on his first day of work and hopes it will be like this in the future. Yerim looks at Yoojin and complains about how Yoojin easily says "I love you" to everyone else since Yoojin said the same to Hyuna and Yoonjae before. Yoojin claims is just how he does business. They were so busy bickering that they didn't realize Noah had gone silent. Yoojin adds that "I love you" can be seen as a regular greeting in the West. Nope, that's just you. Who even says "I love you" at their first meeting? Yoojin looks at Noah for confirmation. Noah remains silent, and Yoojin calls for him again. Noah then mutters something. Yoojin smiles as he asks for Noah to repeat it again, while Yerim moves to stand up while looking at Noah. Yoojin asks if Noah is uncomfortable, but Yoojin doesn't get to finish because the table suddenly gets destroyed. Yerim immediately pulls Yoojin away from the table and covers him while Noah crushes it with his fist. Yoojin gets blown away by the impact. Yoojin tries to stand up, wondering what exactly happened. Why is this happening when even the system notified him that Noah is under his influence? Noah is now enveloped with a purple aura while Yerim lies on the floor. Yoojin calls for Yerim, and Yerim struggles to get up. Yoojin asks Noah, but Noah doesn't seem to hear Yoojin. Instead, he looks at his hand, transforming into claws. Yoojin asks Noah again what is happening. Noah looks back at Yoojin, and Noah suddenly lunges for an attack. Yoojin is confused as to why this is happening. He is sure he managed to influence Noah, but this is beyond his expectations. Then a loud explosion bursts from the rooftop garden. Destruction right on the first day of business. I hope there's insurance. Yoojin is confused about why Noah is attacking him despite his influence on the young man. Noah's face has slightly transformed, and before Noah even gets near Yoojin, he is stopped by Yerim, who used Shadowless Day on him. Yerim curses at Noah for going berserk. She quickly takes her spear from her inventory and attacks Noah. The two S-rankers clash, but Yerim is at a disadvantage, and her arm gets slashed by Noah's claw. Yoojin calls for Yerim, but Yerim shouts at him to stay back. Yoojin thinks that Noah and Yerim's difference is too vast, and his being there means Yerim has to hold back with her attacks in case he gets hurt. Yerim continues to attack, but she suddenly gets dizzy. Yerim falls to her knees, and Yoojin realizes that Yerim got poisoned from her earlier injury. Noah lunges in for the kill, and Yoojin yells for Noah to stop. Noah stops at the order, and he lunges back. Yoojin is puzzled if the influence is really working or not. Noah is now trembling as he holds his head. Yoojin looks at the young man's shaking form, wondering what is wrong. Seeing that Noah is staying put, Yoojin uses this moment to use his stern mother hen drill sergeant skill on Noah to hold him off. Yoojin plans to determine Noah's attacks by sharing senses with Noah, making it easier for them to dodge. Yoojin makes the right call since Noah attacks him, and he can avoid a fatal attack. Yoojin still sustains damage despite his dodging. Our MC should use this skill to check why Noah acts like this. Yoojin focuses on Noah's senses as much as possible since this is the only way he can live. Yoojin is now perceiving Noah's thoughts, and the young man's mind is filled with the intention to kill. Noah sees that it is weaker than him and must take advantage of this moment to kill it. Yoojin is surprised by these thoughts, and Noah glares at Yoojin. Yoojin sees himself with Noah's eyes. It suddenly changes, and Yoojin determines that Noah is mistaking him for someone else. Noah thinks that the person before him right now is actually Ryit. Yoojin is taken aback to learn that the person that Noah really wants to kill right now is Ryit. Of course, it's Ryit's fault that Noah is acting like this. Lost in his thoughts, Yoojin can only watch as Noah lunges again for another attack. Right on time, Mahan summons a shield and shouts at Yoojin to get back. This person is none other than Sunhan. Sunhan protects Yoojin with his shield and asks if Yoojin is okay. Great job, Sunhan. You really are reliable. Yoojin is glad that Sunhan has arrived. Sunhan explains that people from KHA will soon come, as well as the Sejong Guild. Right at that moment, Yoonjae falls from the sky as if he was summoned. He falls directly on Noah for an attack and steps on the young man to keep him on hold. Yoonjae says Yoon should have been there so that he'll enjoy the show. Yoojin runs to Yerim, but Yerim tells him to not come near since the antidotes don't work. Yoojin says it's okay since he has poison resistance. Yoojin shares the skill using +1 and Yoonjae looks at them. Yoonjae says the skill should at least be S-class, confirming his suspicion that Yoojin still has a lot of skills hidden. Sunhan shouldn't have brought this troublemaker with him. He's too sharp. Getting back to the business at hand, Yoonjae pierces Noah's hand with his chain. He says things are messed up even though Noah just landed in Korea. He thinks of taking care of things immediately, but Yoojin calls for him to stop. Yoonjae stops, and Sunhan is surprised that Yoojin will get involved. Yoojin says he is thankful for the help but would also appreciate it if Yoonjae didn't hurt Noah. Sunhan tries to stop Yoojin from getting closer, saying it is dangerous. Yoonjae looks at Yoojin with a smiling face and says that Yoojin should rethink it since he is the victim after all. Yoojin claims he is okay, and Yoonjae comments on how Yoojin defends his guests despite the destruction caused in his new building. That's just our MC's personality. If he wasn't like that, you wouldn't be able to stay by his side, Yoonjae. Yoonjae finally releases Noah and claims he wants to know what happened there. Yoojin says he is going to check by calling Ryit. After a few rings, Ryit answers the call. Noah flinches upon hearing his sister's voice. Ryit asks why Yoojin is calling and if he has already met her cute brother. Yoojin says he did and reveals that Noah also attacked him. Ryit sounds confused and says Noah is not the type to do such a thing. She then asks if Noah can hear her and if what Yoojin said is true. Noah sweats as he confirms this, and Ryit reminds Noah of how she told him to be nice. Noah stammers as he apologizes. Yoojin is still using the stern mother Hendril surgeon skill on Noah, and he feels from their connection how terrified the young man is. Noah is trembling in fear and curls up as if protecting himself. This confirms Yoojin's suspicions that Ryit's claims of having an obedient brother are only because the younger brother is terrified of his older sister. Just what kind of boorish things did Ryit do to her own brother? Yoojin also uses the promising sprout on Noah, and finds that Noah is indeed an S-ranker. Still, at the same time, Noah's maximum possible awakening rank is only supposed to be Class A. Yoojin knows achieving this feat is almost impossible unless it was conducted through extreme means. Yoojin compares it to how Sunghan became an S-ranker despite awakening as an A-ranker. Yoojin knows it is possible because Sunghan can awaken as an S-ranker based on his classification. But in the case of Noah, this is obviously different. Yoojin imagines how much pressure Noah has to take to become an S-ranker despite his limitations. Ryit literally broke her own brother. Yoojin thinks about this kind of growth that has to break the limit, the siblings' words, and how Noah reacts. He ponders how Noah quickly chose to kill when he saw that the person he saw as his sister was weaker than him. Yoojin imagines what kind of hold Ryit has over her brother that can terrify him, and he can only wonder at what sort of upbringing Ryit did. Like how not everyone can be good. Not all caregivers can be good like our MC. This is a backstory of the siblings. A woman maniacally laughs while holding a torn monster head in her hand. She is overjoyed at the fact that she can fight monsters. Standing atop dead monsters, Ryit is celebrating the fact that this kind of world exists. Yep, she was a real psycho before she awakened. She then remembers the existence of her brother and looks at him. Ryit asks what Noah is doing, though she can see that Noah is busy healing other people at that moment. Ryit walks to where her brother is and asks if he is okay and if he is also awakened. Noah stammers a yes, and Ryit gets close to her brother. She holds his face and asks if he is an S-ranker like her. Noah looks away, stating that he is an A-ranker and that he does not have any combat skills, though he does have the ability to heal. Ryit lets go of her brother with eyes filled with disappointment. She then strikes her brother down and lifts him up by his clothes. She claims Noah is nothing but a disappointment and asks how he plans to survive if he is only an A-ranker. Seriously, the kid is an A-ranker. That's even better than our MC's stats. Ryit's sudden outburst shocks the people around them into running. Ryit looks at them and says that these people she just helped are now running away. She states that people should be able to defend themselves. Like the crazy person she is, Ryit kisses Noah on the cheek and acts as if she is comforting her brother. She tells Noah not to cry and worry about it. Noah looks at his older sister as she smiles and claims that she will ensure that Noah becomes useful. Back to the present. Ryit calls her brother Fable, a French term for weak. She asks if Noah is listening and why he cannot do anything right. Noah is still trembling from fear and apologizes. Yoonjae speaks up and comments on how Ryit met Yoojin while she was in Korea. Ryit reacts to the voice and warns Yoojin to be careful around the dangerous person with him since that man is very bad. Everyone already knows that Ryit. Yoojin ignores Ryit and gets back to the topic at hand. He says that Noah seems to have experienced many negative things because of her. Yoojin admits to himself that not all caregivers will be good people, and what transpired here was his mistake. Ryit claims that she raised Noah to become strong. She says Noah was a weakling, and instead of throwing him out, she raised him herself. Yoojin says that Noah is supposed to be an A ranker when he awakened. Ryit answers back, stating an A ranker is not enough since Noah is her brother. Yoojin looks at Noah, and he can see for himself what the young man is going through even without using his skill on him. Ryit defends herself, saying she worked hard to raise Noah to become an S ranker. She explains that Noah is so weak that it seems like he is always on the verge of dying whenever she does something. This psycho is infuriating. We should have Taewon lock her up. Yoojin determines that Noah is anxious and scared even without the shared senses, seeing Noah break before his eyes. He can tell that the young man was abused a lot. Ryit claims that Noah made a mistake even with Yoojin. She believes a weakling like Noah can't be independent, then mocks Noah's guild. Noah gets engulfed by his sister's words as Ryit asks when he will be useful. She then reminds him that he might be left on the streets if she hadn't cared for him. Yoojin watches as Noah drowns in his fear. Ryit is still unfinished and states she is doing all this because of her love for him. Love is not an excuse to torment your own brother. Yoojin is getting furious by the second and tries calming himself down, thinking he can use this situation. Yoojin clenches his fist as he tells Ryit he has something to say. Ryit notices the change in Yoojin's voice and asks why he sounds angry. Yoojin says Noah has injured a Korean awakened, so he will ask the KHA to keep hold of Noah within the country. Ryit asks if Yoojin can let it go. Yoojin plans to take advantage of this time to learn more about Noah and Ryit. Yoojin says that he can also ban her from entering the country if he reports her about selling illegal contracts. Ryit is shocked that Yoojin would really report her. Yoojin says that they can talk about raising her magic beast later instead. Ryit panics as she says she fulfilled her part of the condition by introducing her brother to him. That's a great option, MC. Let's get her banned. Yoojin plans to be careful, recalling how this same person he is talking to tried to kill him once. Ryit tries to make up with Yoojin, asks if this is about her brother's mistake, and says she will handle it. Yoojin reminds himself that he is supposed to handle things carefully. But Ryit kept saying it was her brother's fault, and Yoojin finally snapped. Yoojin yells at Ryit for asking what is wrong when it is evident to everyone how she has manipulated her brother into thinking he is useless. Noah is shocked by the anger Yoojin exudes and stares at him. Ryit asks why Yoojin is shouting, and Yoojin continues to scold her. Our MC is like Noah's knight in shining armor. Yoojin asks how Ryit can say such things to her brother while simultaneously saying she loves him. He continues reprimanding her for not seeing Noah almost dying from anxiety. Yoonjae and Sunhan look at Yoojin with shock, amazed at how angry Yoojin can get. Ryit says she really can't see it from where she is and tries to make an excuse saying that Yoojin should be aware of how they sometimes have to scold while raising kids. Yoojin continues to shout, asking how this is only scolding, and says Ryit is actually bullying a kind kid. Yoojin asks how much Ryit criticizes her brother to the point that he becomes a trembling fool just by hearing her voice. He scolds Ryit for being insane and making her young brother like this and berates her for not protecting Noah if she deems him weak. The guts of an F-ranker who knows his own worth. Noah stares at Yoojin with awe, imagining how Yoojin is scolding his big sister despite being weaker than her. Yoojin admonishes Ryit for thinking so lowly of her brother and asks how she can even call herself the kid's sister. Yoojin is enraged that such a person exists and warns her not to set foot in Korea unless she rectifies herself, bows down to her brother, and asks for forgiveness. Ryit tries to talk back, but Yoojin quickly ends the call. Let's clap our hands for our MC. He is now the president of Noah Lure Protection Group. After a short deafening silence, Yoojin realizes what he just did, thinking he is screwed. Yoojin's phone vibrates and there are a lot of missed calls from Ryit. Yoojin sweats as he remembers that his warning system is not working right, but he is sure Ryit won't kill him since Yoojin still has to raise her magic beast. No worries, everybody will protect you, MC. Behind Yoojin, Yoonjae claps his hands at the performance he just watched. At the same time, Noah looks up at Yoojin and is amazed that Ryit cannot even say anything against Yoojin. After that mess, Taewon arrives and escorts Noah to the association. Taewon feels like he's going to get a headache as he comments on how there is no way a person can change in one night. Yep, but you're late, Taewon. Taewon explains that Noah will be detained in a detention cell meant for the awakened. Seeing that no non-awakened got hurt in what happened, Taewon says Yoojin can ask for a settlement after Noah's detention. He also explains that Yoojin can have him kicked out if he desires. Yoojin says there is no need to kick Noah out of the country. He also asks to have Ryit banned instead, saying it is for his own safety. Taewon easily agrees to the request, and Yoojin smiles at Noah, saying he can rest easy while in Korea. Yoojin reminds Noah that they should have their talk later. Noah looks at Yoojin with appreciation even as Yoojin leaves, and our MC gets another admirer. I wonder if he will be clingy like Myung-woo. Yoojin acts cool as he leaves Noah to Taewon. Yoojin thinks he can resolve things without using force and reminds himself to be more careful in the future. The Sejong Guild brought with them a healer just in case. Sitting down on a bench, he looks at the healer healing Yerim, thinking if he could take Noah as a healer if possible. The healer finishes healing Yerim, and Yerim jumps up and down to celebrate her quick recovery. It's like she never got hurt in the first place. The healer approaches Yoojin and asks if he is hurt anywhere. Yoojin says he is okay since he already has a potion. Suddenly, Yerim butts in, saying that Yoojin must be healed even if he only has a scratch. She pulls on Yoojin's clothes to take a better look if Yoojin still has injuries. Yerim ignores the fact that she destroyed Yoojin's clothes and reminds Yoojin to treat himself better. Yoojin can only agree as he covers his chest and receives treatment from the healer. Every kid under our MC's influence is such a worry word. Yerim continues to scold, saying Yoojin should stop saying I love you to everyone around him since even Noah went berserk. Yoojin feels that Yerim hit the mark, but he simply claims he will do better. He will do better, but our MC will definitely keep saying those words to everyone. Yoojin realizes he has no time to recruit a healer. Yerim is right about saying the keywords to everyone without considering the consequences. Yoojin wonders if this is also the effect of fear resistance. He starts wondering how Yoonjae would act if the keywords worked on him. Of course, he receives mental damage for even imagining it. It is a relief that it didn't work the first 2 times. He said those words to Yoonjae. The Sejong Guildmaster is playing hard to get. The healer is shocked at Yoojin for spitting blood, but continues to heal Yoojin. The healer leaves Yoojin, wondering if his healing skill can cause such a phenomenon. Yoojin doesn't realize that he caused the Sejong Guild's healer confusion. Instead, he resolves to stop dealing with the S-rankers. Yerim brings Yoojin some new clothes, and Yoojin thanks her for being there for him. Yerim blushes at this and sits beside Yoojin. She admits that she is nowhere near good at protecting Yoojin. She also wonders why an A-grade antidote could not heal her when she got poisoned. Yoojin explains that Noah's poison skill might be S-rank, hence the A-grade potion that Yerim used was ineffective. Yerim looks closely at Yoojin and asks about his poison resistance skill rank. Yoojin is trapped, but instead of choosing to hide it, he reveals that it is L rank. He reminds Yerim not to disclose it to anyone else. Yerim is shocked to hear it, and she's enlightened to discover that there is such a rank. Yerim doesn't know that there is also an M rank, but this is not common knowledge after all. Yoojin remembers that Yoonjae seems aware of his poison resistance skill and wonders if it is because Yoonjae knows of Noah's poison skill. Based on the call with Ryit, Yoojin determines that Yoonjae also knows her. A door opens in the detention center for the Awakened, revealing Yoonjae. Yoonjae finds Noah, who is shackled inside. He claims that it was only recently that the young man became valuable. Yet, he is already causing problems as soon as he reaches Korea. And Yoonjae reminds Noah to keep his promise. Noah looks up at Yoonjae, not a single bit shocked that the Sejong Guildmaster is before him. Our MC is correct in his suspicions. Yoonjae knows the siblings, if you remember. He made a call to have his team relocate to Korea, including the Dio Valsius' siblings. Yoonjae asks Noah why he wreaked havoc as soon as he landed and mentions that Noah only made things harder for himself. He once again reminds Noah to keep his promise. Noah looks away and clenches his teeth. He suddenly bangs his cuffed hands on the table and stands up. Noah yells at why he should pay for the information of becoming stronger when Yoonjae also made his sister stronger. Noah blames Yoonjae for telling Ryit the requirement of clearing the dungeon with a sibling. Oh, so it was because of Yoonjae that they got that SSS class title, the twin of Dio Valsius. Yoonjae sighs at this display of immaturity and says that he only told Noah that he would make him stronger, not that he would make Noah stronger than his sister. This only angers Noah, causing him to shift a bit into a dragon. Noah asks why Yoonjae is doing this. So I guess Noah wasn't exactly forced to the dungeon since he also chose to become stronger. But as Yoonjae is a prick, Noah felt he got scammed. Yoonjae does not appreciate this kind of questioning and throws the table over. Noah is now on the floor groaning, and Yoonjae looms over him, saying it doesn't matter right now. Yoonjae reminds Noah that he had already asked him twice why he attacked Yoojin. Noah looks up at Yoonjae, sweating as he wonders how to answer this question. After some time, Yoonjae walks out of the interrogation room as he contemplates Noah's answer to his question. Noah said it was weird how Yoojin felt like a higher-ranking, venomous, curse dragon compared to him and his sister. He says it is why he feels like Yoojin is his sister, albeit a weaker version of her. Yoonjae wonders if Yoojin has a title related to a venomous cursed dragon since he also has a high-tier poison resistance. Yoonjae can only agree with how weird it is for an F-ranker to have something like this and for it to be greater than the Dio Valsius SSS rank title. Yoonjae is slowly unraveling our MC's secrets. The Seijun Guildmaster ponders on how Yoojin doesn't have any attack-related skills. Still, he stops once he finds Taewon's song before him. Taewon looks at Yoonjae and says he is right in thinking that Yoonjae is somehow connected to this case. Yoonjae claims his innocence, saying he is only visiting since he got involved in helping out. Not caring for Yoonjae's excuse, Taewon warns him to never put Yoojin in danger. Yoonjae smiles as he says it is the exact reason he got involved and even had a healer accompany him. Yoonjae adds that it was outside of his expectations and chuckles at how Ri-Yit must be out of her wit with what she can do to make up with Yoojin. Taewon reminds Yoonjae that an F-ranker is no different from an ordinary civilian. He warns Yoonjae again that he should not use Yoojin or even consider exposing him in danger. That means Taewon is really just looking out for our MC, though the method is quite unnerving. Yoonjae taps Taewon's shoulder, comments on how worried Taewon is for Yoojin, and claims he should follow his steps. Yoonjae walks away and wonders out loud if he should also attack Yoojin, similar to what Taewon did. Yoonjae continues walking and ponders Taewon's words about not using Yoojin. For Yoonjae, those words were inaccurate. His phone vibrates, and he pulls it out to check. One of his people informs him that the Haeyeon Guildmaster is finally out. Yoonjae smiles at this message, thinking that things are now more interesting. He then speculates whether Yoojin knows that instead of getting entangled, it is more like another person is involved in everything because of Yoojin. I think Yoonjae refers to how Yoon is caught up in everything his brother is doing. In a different area, many people are gathered outside a dungeon building. Reporters are on the air as they bring the news that Yoon is finally out of the dungeon earlier than expected. And it is not yet confirmed if the dungeon was cleared or if he ended up using gate stones. Everyone is curious about what occurred within the dungeon. A black vehicle arrives and Yoojin comes out of it with Sunhan. It is common knowledge that a hunter who recently got out of a dungeon can be aggressive and shouldn't be carelessly approached. But in the case of Yoojin and Sunhan, they immediately enter the building. The reporters are shocked that an F-ranker is entering the vicinity, even if he is a sibling. This F-ranker is totally safe, unlike what they want to believe. Yoojin runs, but Sunhan reminds Yoojin to stay behind him. Sunhan opens a big door leading to the gate and explains it can be dangerous. Behind the big door, Peace and Yoon are in front of the gate with indescribable looks on their faces. Sunhan can tell that both of them succeeded and is somewhat wary of getting closer. But Yoojin is different, and he calls for his brother. Yoon greets his brother and asks if he is there to welcome him back. Yoojin is angry even though his brother and Peace are now back, and he starts complaining. He's not fearless, he's just treating them as usual. Yoojin squishes his brother's face as he looks closely at Yoon's face. He realizes there are still some small wounds in them and asks what happened to his potions. Yoojin continues to scold his brother and asks what made him enter a dungeon with only Peace. Yoon calmly says he wanted to carry it out on their own since Peace is now an adult. Yoojin argues that Peace is still a kid despite becoming an adult. What kind of logic is that? This, of course, makes Yoon confused. Besides, it was Yoojin who wanted them to bond. Sunhan sighs with relief, seeing that his guildmaster looks stable with how he interacts with his brother. But Sunhan's face suddenly darkens as he looks closely at Yoon. He can tell that his guildmaster emits a dangerous aura, making him flinch and step back. Sunhan deems the situation dangerous since he has experienced this numerous times before. Sunhan pales as he looks at the three, confounded at how Peace and Yoon are holding well from attacking Yoojin. Back to one of this story's crazy characters, Yoonjae looks up the crescent moon as he ponders how similar the brothers are to a cat grooming a tiger. Yoonjae believes that is precisely why others are interested in Yoojin. Returning to our MC and his lil bro, Yoojin exits the dungeon building. The guild members greet him, filled with pride at their guild master's accomplishment. While the reporters are wary they can get close if Yoojin was successful. Some people want to get close and uncover what happened in the dungeon, but Yoojin doesn't let them do as they please. Yoojin covers his brother with a blanket, surprising Yoojin at how attentive his brother is. Yoojin yells at everyone else to do their interviews the next day, since Yoojin lacks sleep from working hard and clearing the dungeon. Yup, the mob in this story lacks common sense. Yoojin covers for his brother, and Peace is irritated at the small flies trying to get close. This action of Yoojin proves his unique existence as a person who will treat an S-ranker like Yoojin as usual and care for him wholeheartedly. As for Noah, he is now locked up in a detention cell, thinking about what he did earlier. He knows he just ruined things, even though it was not his intention. Feeling glum, he starts hearing his sister's voice scolding him for being unable to do a simple job despite being an S-ranker. His vision of his sister continues to mock him, making him sweat. The vision condemns him to the point that he feels restrained by numerous hands. Noah snaps out of it and breaks off the handcuffs on his wrists. He struggles to stand up and makes a decision. He looks out beyond the bars, thinking he can't stay and should at least fix things. And we've got ourselves an escapee. A reporter relays how Hay and Guild cleared an S-grade dungeon in record time and how this can influence the opinion of dungeon management rights. The black vehicle is on the road, and an exhausted, drooling Yoojin is inside. Yoojin sits in the back with Peace in his arms beside Yoojin. Yoojin stares at his brother, and Sunhan reveals how Yoojin hasn't slept for the past few days. Sunhan suspects it is because of Yoojin's job as a magic beast tamer. Still, he is also sure that Yoojin is very worried about him. Sunhan says how bizarre it is for Yoojin to act like a mother hen worried for her chick despite this said chick being an S-ranker. Yoojin continues to gaze at his brother. Both owner and magic beasts are in the same position as they sleep. Sunhan asks if Yoojin acts that way with Yoojin because they are family. Yoojin gets pensive and says that his brother is really just weird. Yoojin thinks about how Yoojin hugs him like he is Yoojin's own child and how Yoojin treats powerful beings like kids. Yoojin recalls how his brother was still the same even before the world changed. They may spend cold nights on their own, but Yoojin makes sure to take good care of him. Seeing his brother grinding his teeth and getting frustrated in his sleep, Yoojin rubs his head on top of his brother's to calm him down. Yoojin believes his brother's unique nature is why such things happen to him. Yoojin compares his brother to a mouse willing to take care of and even show affection for predators. Yoojin thinks that even predators would not mind such attention. Yeah, the MC is really weird. For Yoojin, this kind of treatment is better than his brother not doing anything. Everyone liking his brother also ensures his safety. Yoojin is aware that he has a responsibility in clearing dungeons, and he can't help spending time away from Yoojin. Yoojin recalls how he and Peace slayed numerous monsters in the dungeon. Then, they form an understanding that they deem Yoojin's safety their priority. The two decided to work together to grow stronger at a faster rate. Yoojin hopes that this trip with Peace will make him spend less time in the dungeons and be with his brother. Yoojin fervently hopes in his heart that things will be okay. Even though he is a guild master, Lil Bro can't help but worry for his brother. Even with his responsibilities, he still thinks about how his actions will help his big bro. Yoojin suddenly asks Sunhan if anything happened while he was away, which startles Sunhan. Sunhan sweats as he says that he will give a detailed report later. Yoojin's phone lights up, and he checks a message. Someone sent him a picture, and he was surprised to find images of destruction in his brother's new building, as well as the wounds his brother gained in the neck and chest. This makes Yoojin furious that he crushes his phone. It's probably Yerem who sent these images to him. The sound of cracking wakes Yoojin up. He is still sleepy but snaps awake when he finds his brother angrily crushing his phone. Yoojin wipes his mouth and apologizes, but his brother doesn't let him finish because Yoojin suddenly ripped his clothes to shreds. What's with S-rankers? They treat clothes like nothing. Yoojin is surprised at his brother's actions and scolds him, but Yoojin ignores it and asks about his brother's injuries. A shouting wakes Peace up, still feeling sleepy despite the commotion. Yoojin is brimming with rage even though Yoojin is trying to calm him down. Yoojin explained it was nothing serious and simply got in between a sibling fight. Yoojin demands who did those to him and asks if any cults or Confucianism were involved in the incident. Yoojin is taken aback by his brother confusing such teachings to a cult. Why would Confucianism get involved in this? Yoojin somehow calms down and Yoojin explains that the person who did it is Noah, the guild master of Ark. He adds that Yoonjae took care of the incident and has brought in a healer during that situation. Yoojin gets riled up after hearing Yoonjae's involvement that he destroyed the seat's cushion. Yoojin says it is no small matter, and he feels useless that his brother was hurt while he was shortly gone. Yoojin reveals that he intentionally left everyone else to secure his safety, yet they could not do so. Yoojin slumps and continues destroying the car seat. He feels angry and remorseful that going to the dungeon this time is futile. Lil Bro is handling it better than I thought. At least it is only the seat cushions. Yoojin feels terrible for his brother and rubs Yoojin's head. He asks if that is why only Yoojin and Peace entered the dungeon. Yoojin reassures his brother that Sunhan and Yerim did protect him to the best of their abilities. He adds that No has been arrested, making Yoojin pause. Yoojin asks if that guy is not dead yet. Yoojin is confused by the question but answers it nonetheless. Lil Bro ponders over this information, thinking that Noah is left alone by Yoonjae because Yoonjae is definitely involved. Yoojin is shocked that his brother can deduce that with little information. Yoojin says he will still check it and once again gets agitated as he asks about the bruise on Yoojin's neck. Yoojin is peeved that Yoojin also knows of this incident. Your Lil Bro has to know everything since his priority is you. Yoojin explains everything that has happened to his brother. They are now walking outside and Peace is trying to ensure that Yoojin's chest is covered. Yoojin finishes his explanation by saying Taewon was only teaching him a lesson. Yoojin calmly listens to his brother, and this demeanor makes Yoojin look at his brother. Yoojin says he understands, which significantly surprises Yoojin. Yoojin agrees with Taewon's observation and approach. Yoojin is aware that there really are a lot of people interested in his brother. Knowing his brother's nature, Yoojin thinks it was apt that Taewon used such a method to make Yoojin develop some self-awareness. But of course, Yoojin was hurt, so Yoojin believes that Taewon must pay for hurting his brother. I guess Taewon still can't escape Lil Bro's wrath. Yoojin is surprised that his brother keeps his cool despite learning the truth of what transpired. Yoojin ponders if there's anyone else after him, and having people beside him might not be enough. He recalls Yoojin's words about Confucianism and wonders if it relates to an awakened or another guild. Yoojin imagines what kind of people they would be like but chooses to ask his brother instead. Yoojin calls for his brother to come in to discuss the cult Yoojin was talking about, but his phone suddenly rings. Yoojin answers the call, and it is Officer Taewon on the line. Taewon asks if Yoojin is already home. Yoojin looks upward while his brother is on the phone. It's a good thing Lil Bro finally lent his coat to his big bro. I was worried Peace would have to keep covering for him. Yoojin answers Taewon's question, and Taewon warns him not to come out because Noah is gone from the detention center. Just when Taewon says that, Noah arrives sweating and gasping for breath. Taewon is still on the line as he mentions that they have also contacted Haeim Guild, but Yoojin doesn't hear the rest since his focus is now on Noah. Noah trembles as he walks toward Yoojin and calls for him. Peace jumps from Yoojin's arms on the other man's arrival. Yoojin greets the young man and asks why he isn't in detention. Peace uses gigantification and growls at Noah. Yoojin's face darkens, clearly unimpressed with the association's ability to keep a high-rank awakened locked up. Yoojin asks why Noah is there right now, and Noah kneels on the ground and says he is there to apologize. Dear Lord, the pretty boy is crying beautifully, and he even has those flowers as an overlay. Yoojin is surprised that Noah would escape just to apologize. Tears fall from Noah's beautiful eyes like shining starlight. Noah admits he is being rude, but he really wants to apologize for what he did. Noah says that he is even willing to do anything so that he will be forgiven and for his sister's pet to be raised by Yoojin. Yoojin glares at Noah and asks his brother if this is the guy who harmed him. Yoojin tells his brother to stay beside him. Yoojin speaks to Noah, assuring the young man that he is not mad and will talk to Noah's sister. Noah smiles with relief, and Yoojin tells him that he should return tomorrow since he must also apologize to Yerim. Noah flinches as he looks at the man beside Yoojin. Noah asks who the man is, and Yoojin introduces Yoojin as his younger brother. Noah is surprised by this fact and asks if Yoojin is getting bullied by his own brother. Yoojin says there's a reason why they look like that. Lil Bro does look like he bullies his big bro with how they are dressed. Yoojin introduces himself as the guildmaster of Haeim Guild and says he knows about what happened earlier. Noah flinches and sweats as he looks at Yoojin. Noah is incredulous since Yoojin is not even afraid of having such a powerful brother. Yoojin remains unflinching even though Noah is now trembling in fear. Noah claims that Yoojin is like him, who has an S-ranker for a sibling. He deems such a situation dangerous, and Noah continues to talk with fear and disbelief. Yoojin looks at his brother, saying it is his fault for scaring the poor kid. It's not Lil Bro's fault. They're clearly just indifferent when it comes to such things. MC. Yoojin places a hand on his brother's chest and tells him to stay back since he is weak. Like a trigger, Noah remembers the way his sister treats him. Noah is afraid, but he pulls himself together. His hands transform and he lunges to where Yoojin is. Noah shouts at Yoojin to take his hands off Yoojin. This shocks Yoojin, but Yoojin simply pushes his brother back as Noah attacks. The impact causes destruction, and it is not clear if Yoojin's new building will even be able to survive it. And we've got another misunderstanding. Let's pray that our MC's building will make it through the night.